Hello and welcome back to the Frugal Spender. Today I'm going to walk you through how to set up a stocks and shares ISA with Vanguard. Happy New Year. Happy 2021. I'm sure you're glad to see the back of 2020 just as I am. Today I want to talk you through how to set up a stocks and shares ISA with the Vanguard platform. I've had a few questions on other social medias about how to do this, so I thought I would show you on screen today how to go about that. So what is a stocks and shares ISA? It is an ISA, an individual savings account, whereby you can invest in the stock market. You can invest in stocks, funds, and individual shares. In this particular case, with Vanguard, I use index funds as my main sort of portfolio, where I'm going to try and grow my money over the long term. I'm not going to withdraw any money from that potentially for 20 to 30 years. The great thing about ISAs is it is post-tax money. It's a tax wrapper, which means that you will never be taxed with any money you put in, any growth you have within the ISA, and then when you take money out when you're older. So if that portfolio grows to hopefully a large sum of money, let's say £1 million in 30 years time, you aren't going to have to worry about taking money out, how much tax you need to pay, and seeking advice in the sense of how to pay the lowest tax. Peace of mind would be there's no tax to pay whatsoever. Now, that's not necessarily the only way to help your money grow. I would advise definitely having a pension as well, because you do get the additional money from your employer, whether it's an employer's match, or if you're self-employed or you put into a SIP, a self-invested personal pension, and you get the tax relief that way. You potentially have more money to compound over time, but you do have to worry about the tax in the future. So a stocks and shares ISA is a brilliant way to grow your money tax-free in the future. Now, in the 2020-2021 tax year, you have up to £20,000 to invest per year. That's quite a large sum of money, and to reach that limit, you would have to invest quite a lot per month. Now, if you are lucky enough to have a salary or an income whereby you can do that, then fantastic, max it out and potentially move on to other products. But for most of us, a stocks and shares ISA £20,000 limit is a plenty. Within a stocks and shares ISA, you can invest in funds, individual shares, or bonds. So with that £20,000 limit, you can share it between a cash ISA or a stocks and shares ISA, or you can put the full 20,000 in one or full £20,000 in the other. Now, an important thing to note with a stocks and shares ISA is that the value could go up, but it could also go down. It's the nature of investing within the stock market. Now, we call that volatility. Now, volatility isn't necessarily a bad thing. It is the driving force that when the stock market goes up, you've gained money, but when it goes down, it also makes stocks cheaper to buy. So when you're continuously putting money in, you're buying stocks at a cheaper value. So over time, when you compound and compound, over the span of 20 or 30 years, it is actually going to work in your favor. What I would say is, and this is certainly what I do, is the money that I put within my stocks and shares ISA isn't money that I want to or need to touch within 5 to 10 plus years. If you want money instantly, or you don't want to put money away that you can't touch, I would advise setting up an emergency fund before you do anything else. Now, that should be 3 to 6 months in an account that you can touch very quickly, within 10 minutes if you need to, and if emergency arises. The money that you put into a stocks and shares ISA, although you can access it quite quickly, you just need to sell some stocks, shares, or bonds to access it. But you are then stopping the growth that you will have over a long period of time. The money you put within an emergency fund isn't really there to grow. It's there as an insurance policy, like your boiler breaking down or your car breaking down. This money that you put away is for the long term. It certainly is for me. Now, to remind you, you need to do your own research in relation to this. This is just what I do. All the information that I'm giving you in this video is just stuff that I've learned. This isn't financial advice whatsoever. Okay, so let's get started. I'm currently on Vanguard's website, which is vanguardinvestor.co.uk. As you can see on the home screen here, they have over 30 million customers worldwide. Now, Vanguard is a well-known, well-trusted platform, renowned for its low fees in particular. Now, to get started straight away, there's plenty to read up on about their history, and I advise you to do that. The more you know when it comes to where you're putting your money and what sort of funds you're putting your money into, there's plenty of information on Vanguard. Now, the reason why I have created this YouTube is to show that money can actually be simple. So I'll get straight into how to set up an account. So if you look at the top of the screen here, next to basket, you have open an account. Pretty self-explanatory. So you have two options when you get to this screen. You can either apply for a Vanguard account, or if you have an account already, which you will do after you've done this, it's very simple to log in here. Now, one thing to note is I use the mobile app on Android, and it is very, very simple. Automatically saves my login details. With one click, I can look at my portfolio and see what my money is currently doing. So you're going to need three things to set up a Vanguard account. You're going to need your national insurance number, debit card details to set up a direct debit. Now, you're going to need this. You won't be able to set up an account otherwise. And you will need your bank details, so who you're banking with. You will have to clarify which account you want to actually set up, and in this case it will be a stocks and shares ISA. So once you have those three things at hand, let's get going. So start my application. Now, you're presented with two options here. A Vanguard Junior ISA, obviously for children under the age of 18, whereby you can set up an account on their behalf. When they then turn 18 years old, it switches into their name. Now, I do that with my daughter. She's 7 years old. Her name is Isla, and we put in a regular amount into her account. Hopefully then when she's 18 years old, there's a good sum of money there where she can either put a deposit down for a house or help towards a deposit for a house or a car. Now, we are, as she's getting older, explaining to her that she will have a bit of money. Don't get me wrong, it's not going to be a huge sum of money, but it'll be enough to help her when she turns 18 years old. Now, it's important you do talk about that beforehand, because I remember when I was 18, if it was sprung upon me that I had a large sum of money, I just don't think I would have used it very wisely. So if you do have children, I would definitely consider opening up a junior ISA on their behalf, and you can invest in stocks and shares for them. Now, the account that we're going to be interested in this particular case, I'm assuming you're over 18, is to open a Vanguard stocks and shares ISA. So there's two options here, open an account or transfer an account. Now, I've done this with a previous account that I had. I actually set up an account with Moneybox when I first started investing, which I'll do another video for at a later date. But it's good to know that you have the option to transfer a stocks and shares ISA from another location, another platform, to Vanguard if you wish, or vice versa. So let's go ahead and click open an account with Vanguard. This page here is going through all the important information that you need to know prior to opening up an account. Now, I'm not going to go through all of it with you. When you do open an account, make sure you read it. Okay, it's very important. The gist of it is that you will be charged fees. The value of your investments may go up and it may go down, but if you go down here, you will see that there are some documents that you need to download. Key features, an ISA declaration, which you're going to have to download prior to opening the account, a privacy policy and terms and conditions. Now, I'm certainly not going to bore you with going through all of that. However, you do need to read it before opening it. By clicking proceed, you are agreeing to all those terms, so please make sure you read them. So once you have read them, we tick that we have read them, and let's proceed. Now, this is the fun bit. This is the bit where you get to choose what investments you would like to make within your stocks and shares ISA. Now, the funds that I invest in, and again, this is just what I do, this is certainly no advice to anyone else, is I use the Life Strategy 100 Equity Fund. The reason I use that is because it's quite an aggressive fund. The life strategies are products that Vanguard give you, and it makes it quite simple, which is why I would say it's probably best for a new investor, including myself. It breaks it down quite simply to percentages. So there's a life strategy 20, which is 20% equities and 80% bonds. And as you go further down the list, you can see there's 40%, 60%, 80%, and then 100%. The life strategy 100 is 100% stocks and shares. So there's nothing in bonds. So it's a bit more volatile. The value will go up at a higher rate, but it will also drop at a quicker rate too. But my hope is that over time, that volatility will grow my money in the long term. I don't intend in taking my money out for quite some time. So you can quite simply either make a single payment here, you just put in the numbers there, or you can make a regular monthly payment, which will take the details you put in for your direct debit shortly. As you can see down the bottom here, it tells you what your remaining ISA allowance is. Now that will update once you transfer any money in, or once you have started putting money into the account, that will update to let you know how much money you have left. And if you're getting close to your allowance, then you may have to make some decisions about where to put your money next. So let's say in this example, we're going to set up a £100 a month regular payment. Now that is what Vanguard require you to do. There's two options. You can either make a single payment of £500 to open an account, or set up a regular amount for £100. Now, I fully understand that for a lot of people that is a big commitment, and it certainly was for me too. But what I have learned since opening an account with Vanguard is once you set up a payment for £100, a regular payment, if you do need to lower that amount, you can do, and it still allows you to make that payment monthly, and there seems to be no repercussions for that. So obviously a good target would be to put in at least £100 a month. You have the option to lower if needs be, if that is a little bit high for you at the moment, which I completely understand for a lot of people it is, including myself. And as you go down, you can see all the funds that Vanguard offer you. There are funds like target retirement funds, which the date that was within the fund name is the date that they expect you to retire and start withdrawing money from your account, and they manage it throughout the years, whereby they shift between how much stocks you have and how many bonds you have. So as you get closer towards that number, you have more and more bonds, and that's just to lower volatility. So we've set up a £100 a month regular payment within the Life Strategy 100. Now again, there's plenty more to choose from down here. I'm not going to go through all of them. Click next. Now this is all about you. Obviously put all your information into there. We can't get any further than here because I'm not going to put my national insurance number in. However, once you've got to that point, you put your address in, and then you click next. And once you get to the next point, you will be asked for your bank details, and that will be where the money is going to come out from on a regular payment. So it really is as simple as that. I transferred my stocks and shares ISA from Moneybox, which took about 14 days, I believe, and you don't have to do anything. It's peace of mind. Once you've set it up and you've asked it to be transferred across, Vanguard will do everything for you. They do a great job of notifying you every time something happens, every time your fees are due, anytime they're trying to communicate with you, or if you communicate with them and they reply, you'll get an email to whatever email you set up the account with. I really like Vanguard. I think their customer service is great, and I've had no issues whatsoever with them. Now, there are other platforms you can use, plenty. Just do a Google search and you'll find that there are a lot of platforms to use. I'm not going to comment on others because I've only used two. But Vanguard seems to be the most popular, especially for new investors and for people who just want to put their money away invest in a low-cost fund, what you will see is this little document here with key investor information. Now, if we open that up, you will see it takes you to a document where it explains to you everything about the fund that you're looking to invest in. Now, make sure you read this. It does rate every single fund on a scale of 1 to 7 with risk and reward profile. Now, it's ranked the Vanguard Life Strategy 100 on a 5, so it's rating it as quite a volatile and quite a risky fund to put your money into. It tells you all about the charges, which is currently 0.22%, which is obviously pretty low, and it tells you past performance. So let's not get too carried away with that. However, it's good to know that all the information that is required when it comes to investing in that particular fund is at a click away, and that's it. You are set up with a stocks and shares ISA at that point. Now really it's up to you to decide how much money you want to put in going forward. I would advise having a look at a compound interest calculator, so you have a reference point for the future for how much money you think that you could potentially earn at whatever rate of return that you think your fund can get you. Now, this video was quite simply to show you how easy it is to set up a stocks and shares ISA, which, as you can see, is just a few clicks and typing in a little bit of information and you're done. The most important thing is knowing your risk profile. My family in particular, I am happy to take more risk. I invest in the Life Strategy 100, whereas my partner invests in the Life Strategy 80. So she's still quite happy to take some risk. However, she wants the surety of having a little bit of bonds, just so that, you know, the money doesn't go up and down quite as much. But, you know, we've only been doing this for a couple of years, so we will see in the future who's made the right choice. But what I would say is, don't be afraid to invest. Just, you know, invest what you can afford. You know, do it for a few months and get used to the idea of investing and seeing the numbers go up and down and just really getting a feel for what to do. And then, you know, if you want to put more money in, then go ahead. But I think what we need to learn, in particular for younger people, is that investing isn't necessarily just for rich, wealthy people, which is certainly what I thought before I started learning about money. So give it a go. You know, if you like the look of Vanguard, then set up an account or try a different platform. So thank you very much for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up, and if you subscribe, you'll get a notification every time I release a new video. I plan on doing 1 or 2 videos a week, all about personal finance, budgeting, you know, just how to make money simple, because it doesn't need to be complicated. It can be complicated, and there's plenty of information out there, but I certainly want to make it accessible to everybody.